Hey there everyone, Jenny, your vintage soul crafter here. I just thought I'd give a update on One Book July as well as finish off the Language of Flower series with you since I have not yet posted the slideshow of that finished card series, index card a day series with Daisy Yellow Art. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first and share with you S through Z. Real quick, I still will put up a slideshow, so if you want to have a closer look at those, you can take a look, or if you want to go to Instagram. And really, guys, my whole purpose and desire for all of this, for posting any of it or anything, is not so one day you can see me on the Academy Awards, because certainly that's not going to happen. But it's just to inspire other people, because I have been so inspired on YouTube by the various different people. Some of them I've mentioned, others I haven't. Sagita and Sagita's Coffee Stains, as well as Jibid. Oh my gosh, there are so many. The Rebookery, love. Just an extraordinary talent is on YouTube. So I encourage you to look and get inspired. And if you're not into crafting, creating art in this nature, at least just go and admire the work that some of the people do and the beauty of it. And if you love to journal, there's so many fantastic journals, Yvonne Preston and the Junk Journal Junkies and so forth. So anyway, that's just to name a very, very few. This is S, which is Staghorn. Keywords, sparkle, spectacular. I may have already posted this. I'm not sure. I didn't look before I decided to do this. Kind of spur of the moment sort of thing, which I can do from time to time. And I'm not from the South. I don't know why I do that weird accent. But anyway, here is Soul Shine, Let Your Soul Shine. I think, gosh, this sounds familiar. Maybe I did it. I don't know. Anyway, that's Staghorn Sumac. You could also find these all posted on Instagram if you so choose and desire to have a look-see at the Insta. And this is T for Take Time Together. We make memories, but the best memories that we make are the memories that we make together. Got some vintage clockwork pieces, watch pieces, and so forth, gears here. And Eugene Peterson says, the faster we move, the less we become. Our very speed diminishes us. Is that not truth right there? I'm telling you what, the faster we try to do things, the slower it seems like we really move. And the less we connect with other people. I think that's the key really here, is taking time together, and that the memories that we go back to time and time again, so to speak, are the memories of together, the boxes and the albums of together that we pull out and that we peruse through. And so anyway, that's T for Tulip Tree, which I love. Such an understated, beautiful tree. You wouldn't notice the blossoms. You probably see them around, but you might not notice them unless you really went and looked, because they sort of blend in. This is the California Bay. I am in California, and I have one of these trees growing out my backyard, Umbellularia californica. It's such a beautiful tree, and I've enjoyed over the last 11 years seeing ours grow and smelling it every now and then. It is, as you hear says, unforgettable, an unforgettable fragrance that you don't want to smell too much of, because it will give you a headache. And you can cook with the California Bay. It's apparently a stronger flavor than the Laurel, the Greek Bay. Anyway, there's the back. And so, yeah, that is the California Bay. So we're getting there. We're almost done. This is V, which is for viburnum. Here is the snowball viburnum. And the word in the language of flowers is vibrant. And even though the snowball viburnum is a white and almost looks like a hydrangea, and with pretty green leaves, grows quite prolifically back east and in the Midwest. It turns this fabulous, vibrant red berries, orange and reds and russets and gorgeous. So have a psalm here, Psalm 118. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. It's a vibrant song. It's a song that acknowledges everything that's good that we have been given from above. So there's V for vibrant and for viburnum, the snowball viburnum. Here is W. I love W's plant, which is, I'm sorry, I'm not Latin. I don't speak Latin. Weigela or Weigela. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's the variety Florida, and I picked a few different ones that are in that variety, but such an easy plant to grow. If you're in a hot climate, it loves afternoon shade and morning sun. Wonderful wish wings. The words that I posted when I originally posted this on Instagram and Facebook were that sometimes I wonder and wish for wings. I used to dream, and still do actually at times, of flying, having wings to fly. I used to pretend like I was Snow White, true story, and go out on the beach and hold out my arms and just stand there and wish and pray that I would either fly, that the wind would lift me and I would fly, or that seagulls or some other bird creature would come and land on my arms like they did with Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Anyhow, never happened, but I can still wish, and that is also one of the words of W for Weigela or Weigela. I'm not sure how you say it. This is X for explore. I was going to cheat, like I said, and do XYZ together, but I decided to be good and to explore boldly, be extra brave, cross my heart when we're willing to do that, when we're willing to step out beyond our fears and a little bit of discomfort. We would be amazed by, W for wonder, some of the wonders of what happens in the world. And so this actually, X, is xylosma. I did have to go online and find this. My book did not have an X, and so I went online and found xylosma. It's a thorny green evergreen shrub, and planted quite prolifically here in California. At least it used to be in new housing areas and so forth. You can trim it up and let the crisscrossing trunks show, and it's quite nice. If you hear tippy tapping in the background, that's my Otis buddy. He's tippy tapping on the floor. Anyway, and so God's power means you need never fear anyone else's power over you, because in him you have an all-powerful friend. That is out of the Everyday Grace book that I used for a majority of this A through Z, the language of flowers. And so that's the back. Use some typing paper here. Love the texture, sound of it. A little tag, that's the whatever you call that, the inside out part of what I cut out, you know what I'm saying, and a little piece of film strip and yada yada. Anyhow, love that one. That actually was one of the quickest, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and this ended up being one of my favorites. Love it. X. Y. Y would be yucca. Why? Because we like you. Mickey. Your story, your journey, your heart. Y is yucca. Got this old, actual vintage, of course it's vintage, pin nib, although I will admittedly admit that not everything I use is vintage, but I really am a bit of a purist at heart, and so I do my best to use vintage items as much as I can. All of these index cards were vintage and so on. Anyway, Y is for yucca. This plant, I had to do yucca. Ignore Otis, please, in the background. He likes to hear himself talk, as do I sometimes, I'll admit it. And so this is yucca. We were driving down to our daughter's who lives down in the Santa Monica, Marina Del Rey area, and these are in full bloom all along Highway 5 as you get down there on the Grapevine and so forth. And I just, it's such a incredible plant how it can grow like that. And so, and it also has incredible medicinal value and uses. It's in a lot of dog foods now because it's kind of a natural prednisone that doesn't cause the same reactions and kind of yucky stuff that happens with prednisone and steroidal drugs like that. So yucca, look it up. It's yucca cool, man. Okay, sorry. That's why my kids call me a dork. And finally, Z. By the time you get to Z end, fear is no longer an issue with going through these. I wasn't sure I'd make it, but I did. And so Z is for zero fear. This is Zelkova. It's a tree. They're planted all over our neighborhood here. And when a train, my favorite, oh, this is one of my heroes, Corey Ten Boom. When a train goes through a tunnel and it gets dark, you don't throw away the ticket and jump off. You sit still and trust the engineer. Love Corey Ten Boom. If you've never read The Hiding Place, I highly, strongly recommend it, whether you believe in Jesus or not. It is a truly inspirational story. It takes place in Holland during World War II. And anyway, she's just was just such an extraordinary woman and has such wisdom to share about so many things. And she would well know what fear is all about, but she pushed through anyway in spite of incredible odds. So that is Z for Zelkova and zero fear. And that brings us to the end of the Language of Flowers series. I did want to share, I think I did already, I'm going to put these in here backwards because I can, this little drawer that I have left over from something and all of the cards in here, all of their textures. I'm not 100% certain what I'm going to do with all these. I think if you know someone who's a botanical major or a master gardener or just loves gardening and planting and so on, if there's somebody who is really into that, you could actually journal on these. You could write gardening notes on them. I told you, he likes to hear himself talk. It is Otis in the background. It's not my husband. My husband doesn't bark like that. That is the dog. That is my bulldog, Otis. Sorry. Anyway, I think these would be really cool if you attached seed packets to them, if you collected specimens and attached to them. So I would be willing to part with these for a donation. I don't even know what that's about. And anyway, that's just something I've considered, not 100%. But if you know of someone who would love these and treasure them and the work that's gone into them and the care and all of that good stuff, let me know in the comments section or message me or email me or whatever works best for you. So I also wanted to give a little update on my One Book July 2017. I have been working on it, got a little bit of progress made, not huge amounts. Excuse me, one. Okay, I think he's going to shut up now. I don't tell him to shut up because it's not nice. But I will tell him loudly to be quiet, and then he'll keep barking. So it doesn't really do any good whatsoever. I could put this on pause, but I'm just not quite that adept at running the whole thing, and I'm still jerry-rigging this bit. Okay, so this is the One Book July, my memories journal that I'm making for my mom. Mom, if you're watching, it will be a surprise when you get it in your hands, but it won't be a surprise right now because if you're watching, you know I'm making this for you. All of Granny's memorabilia, things that you gave to me. So I've made a little bit of progress in the couple of days of July that we've had. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, well, sorry about that. I do think I got Otis to be quiet, and I figured out how to use the pause button. So, thanks for sticking with me. Anywho, as I was saying, this is all Granny stuff. So I've added, my Granny loved Coca-Cola, and she had one of those small bottles. I think they still make them. They stopped making them for a while. Every day at the same time. So I've decided to start adding a couple of little notes, and that's what this one says. And actually there's this ad right here for Coca-Cola that I found when I was sealing up her baby hair. I know some people might think that's gross, but it doesn't gross me out. And it was kind of a tradition that people would, you know, the first lock of hair, and maybe people still do it today, that you cut from your baby's head. And my Granny had this spectacular auburn red hair. They used to call her Carrot Top. So this is that lock of hair, and this is the newspaper. She wrote this, My Baby Hair. And this is a newspaper, and that's actually the ad for the Coca-Cola that this was folded up in. So I've used an old envelope, window envelope, so that you can see it. And then I did put a little bit of scripture up here, and the very hairs on your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid. You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows. And some little washi feather tape that I have. And yeah, so this is partly sewn with little bits and pieces, and then the the envelope, window envelope. And then on the opposite side, this, my granny's favorite flower was the lily of the valley. So I have this little vintage cameo button that I glued here. My preferred glued for this kind of thing is the Aleene's Fast Grab Tacky Glue, and I actually leave it laying on its side. It can be kind of hard to manipulate out of here, and squeeze the bottle can hurt after a while. But if you leave it on its side, that really seems to help with the flow of it. So, I just leave it laying on its side and have gotten used to that. So I was just about, and what I was working on right now was this piece of paper here that I've done a little bit of edging with my, whatever that thing is that edges. It's actually not it's one of those that are bind it all. That's what it is. It's a bind it all. Because I have yet to get one of those what are they called? I don't know. Anyway, it's an edge. Yeah, I put it on there. And so I was just fixing to fix that on there. And that will be the next little thing that I do. And this is actually an old Southwest card, like playing card, that you can get when you fly sometimes depending upon the airline. And so I had this deck of old Southwest airline cards. And this, I don't know how, when you say old, okay, obviously it's not 100 years old. It's not technically an antique because Southwest hasn't been around that long to the best of my knowledge. But it's still kind of retro vintage, and I did help it along a little bit. But it's Coca-Cola, always Coca-Cola. It was always Coca-Cola for my granny. And I'm just going to somehow, I think, adhere this. I have to kind of be careful when I do this. Okay, that's Otis again now. He's like dropping his bones and whatever. But I want to sew this on, but I do have to be careful when I get to the other side, as you can see, because this is, and I will just say that as I'm figuring all of this out to help you figure stuff out if you decide to take this on for the first time. And if you've already done this kind of stuff, please feel free to give me tips and comments. I would appreciate it. But one little thing that might seem like Captain Obvious to other people, but I forget. And that is when I sew, I really need to be cognizant of where I'm sewing it, because obviously if I want to use this as an envelope, then sewing it shut's not going to be very useful. So yeah, so I'll probably reinforce this with some washi or something, or I'll sew it. I've done that with some of the other ones. And then I think I've decided that I am going to leave a couple of the envelopes, maybe like this one over here, empty, because my mom has so many more letters and pictures and things like that she might want to add. And there's certainly plenty of tuck spots in addition to the envelopes where she can put things. But I think yeah, I'm going to keep a couple of those freed up for her to be able to add things to. I did have to reinforce here with some washi as well. Oh, and I did want to share real quick that this right here, this tape, it's just paper's tape like you buy or you get in the hospital when they tape on cotton gauze or whatever. And that's kind of, I think, one of the ideas probably behind washi is that it's that like hospital paper tape. So you can write on it, you can tear it really easily. It's semi-transparent. I was hesitant to write on things because you know how it goes. If you have straight hair, you want curly hair. If you have curly hair, you want straight hair. If you have freckles, you don't want any. If you don't have freckles, you maybe do want freckles. If you have light skin, you want dark skin, etc., etc. Kind of how it is with writing or handwriting. Mine's just okay. And it seems like every time I go to write, I have to like write over it and write over it. The pen's not dark enough or whatever, as is the case here. But this is a piece of family memorabilia that I'm sharing with my heart. And so I'm okay. I'm okay with my writing being in it. And hopefully someday, if it means something to somebody else, my kids or grandkids, if I ever have any, or nieces and nephews, then yeah, that's great. They can see my handwriting. I love seeing my granny's handwriting and all of her cards that she herself were too dumb to keep, but somebody kept them anyway, thank goodness, because we are the ones who benefit. And she probably would have said the same thing, that she didn't like her handwriting, but I love it. I love it. I loved feeling this lock of baby hair in my fingers, and that's kind of from the time I can remember when we inherited so many things from my great-grandmother, who was actually my granny's mother-in-law. we inherited this chest full of family records and photos. And oh my gosh, my grandmother was a genealogist, and she traced us back. She was a daughter of the American Revolution, and our family back to eons, it seems like. And I used to go through that chest, and I have that chest still that has so many family things in it, and just feel the closeness and the nearness of the spirits of family members gone before us through those items that were in there, baby items and jewelry and old purses and all kinds of stuff that I'm sure you guys will see at some point, either with this memorabilia book or this envelope book, or with other things that I make and incorporate and so on. But yeah, I became fascinated and obsessed from a very, very young age with things that are vintage and old and antiques, and my mom's love of them and my grandmother's and granny's love of them and so on. I think really instilled in me an appreciation for things of the past and a value for items that are old or antique or vintage or retro. And so much of that stuff, like mid-century modern, oh, we used to think it was so disgusting, and now we pay lots and lots of money for it. So yeah, anyway, that is where I am with this, you guys, and haven't made a huge amount of progress, but I am making progress, and by next week I will have started on the third and final signature for this envelope memory book, and then I will share with you the process of assembling it all. And I do also hope to share with you some of the process as I'm working on this more than I have, but not having a tripod yet and something that's over, it's really, as you can probably see, because you're getting to watch my arm move up and down. Yeah, you're welcome for that. So anyway, I will continue to share with you those things, and I hope you are inspired by it. As I said, I hope it, I don't know, maybe gives you a deeper appreciation for things that are vintage, and to do something with them, to create something that future generations will be able to pick up and look at and enjoy and laugh at and so forth. So thanks for joining me today or tomorrow or whenever you get around to viewing this, and I really appreciate those who have subscribed to the channel. I know a lot of you are my friends or family, and I appreciate that, because that's where we all start. And like I said, even if I don't get a whole mass of subscribers, that's okay. Somebody will see this at some time, and I appreciate it, and I hope it makes them appreciate art and creating all the more. Thanks. Bye.